We are live. Coming to you on a Thursday, October 23rd on almost 6:45 p.m. I am your co-host, Anthony Russo, and I am with your other co-host, Coach Trey Goodwin. How are you doing today, man?
Good, baby, good. Any better, there'd be two of me.
Oh, I like the energy. I like the energy. On a side note, before we get into this, what were your thoughts on since we're kind of into gambling, what are your thoughts on the whole gambling barcode today
Dude.
with I don't even think barcode's a word, but just the news coming out of the professional basketball league. Thoughts, concerns?
Just getting a couple of our streaming things up and out to the people. But in my honest opinion, Roos, I'm not really all that shocked that they're getting better at figuring this out. I
To the
think,
FBI. It
dude,
wasn't like an internal investigation. Cash Patel was given
right.
a press conference this morning.
There was there There was one specific instance a couple of years ago, and me and you were betting on this game, and I don't remember if you remember it or not, but it was a first touchdown, and I believe it was a Thursday night game. It was the Lions and somebody, whatever we decided to bet on. It was first touchdown scorer, and the way it didn't happen to me seemed like he got downed inside the 3, and then they just kind of like snuck in a little QB sneak for the touchdown, and it was like no one bet that.
Yeah.
And it's there's a couple of other ones where it's like I'll see tweets where it'll be like so and so's hot from 3 in warmups, and then they'll go out and like hit the backboard on the first 3-point attempt, and it's like, okay, like hold on now. Like, what are we?
Basketball is the easiest sport to kind of get away with it. I mean, but man, just ties to I think there were two separate issues going on. I think it was illegal gambling in the sense of poker, and then illegal gambling in the sense of Terry Rozier, a current NBA player, like throwing game. Shout out to Mr. Dilly there, Scary Terry. That was his name. And people are pointing to like tapes of him, like there's like an obvious tape where he like fumbled the ball like right to the defender. But I think the real thing is what they're coming out and saying is that he had told a bunch of people to bet his under for a specific game. And
he could just fake being hurt and get out.
And played 9 minutes and faked an injury. So I mean, you think he's made over 100,000 career earnings in the NBA. I mean, how much debt do you think someone got in to be tied to the cartel? Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's more to come on this. He's probably not the only one. He's not the first either. I mean, we've seen this instance several times, but it touched close to home because we are big fans of gambling, especially on player props. So I'm sure there's a world I had something with Terry Rozier on that game.
What was I'm not sure. I could find his name if you'd like. I unfortunately don't know. I believe it was basically around the fella that longtime ref goes off on insane decision to ban SEC official. So of course, dude's coming to his defense. It was Ken Williamson, the head official of controversial crew for the Ohio State 2019 game. He was also like the Auburn Georgia head official rather, and they basically said go kick rocks. Coach Trey is my hero. Appreciate that, T-Pat.
Shout out T-Pat and shout out Dilly. Did catch the Pels. I wish they would play Fears more.
But
speaking of that going on,
man, like referees getting suspended.
I saw that. Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
Illegal gambling. Like, come on, man. Like, so let's just say for all intents and purposes, okay, like this is hypothetical. This is not reality. Whoever's listening, maybe Uncle Cash, whoever's listening.
Uncle Cash.
If I were an NBA basketball player and I were, you know, a bench player and I were to come in and before going into the game, we had a phone call. We were talking about Battlefield and I was like, "Hey dude, take my over." Like, and then went and said to someone, say, bro, like my contract's coming up in a month. Like I gotta get to 45 points so I can get this 10 bands. Like, can you just is there any way you want to like sit an extra 5 minutes, let me catch some shots? And I'm just throwing them. Like,
Yeah.
is that I mean, in reality, it's insider information. What was the idiot about and then the idiot that got caught doing the college baseball? Like whenever he bet, he like went and said that he had like insider information, and they like had him locked up with a jumpsuit on by like 3:30 in the afternoon. Like it's not that uncommon. But what is funny to me, since you wanted my opinion and you asked me, is how good they're getting at catching this early. That is what I will say. It is impressive.
No, yeah, 100%. So yeah, touch deep to home. And shout, we're gonna touch this and close the show with this. But anyone who comments on this video will be eligible to split a bet we're going to make on the on Bovada. We're gonna make a player prop parlay. On the show for you guys for this LSU game and try and smack some bones. So anyone who comments on this video will be eligible to split some money for that. So hopefully we'll say that now for anyone listening, and we'll also post that. We'll post that at the end of the show. So let's just get into it, man. We're not going to be here super long. I really don't even have. Shout out to my girl Kate for taking care of me. It's been a rough last week and a half for
Shout
me.
out, Katie.
So we've been taking. I don't even have the energy to really go into anything else but this conversation. So that's what I'm hoping we're going to make the show about today, which is where does LSU go from here? Obviously, if for those that probably everyone here probably knows that LSU fell to Vanderbilt. What was it, 31-24, I believe? Which, 24 points is about the number they land on pretty much every game. We said it was a must-win game. We said, what didn't we say about this game, and we've lost, and now we're sitting at what, 5-2? Or is it 4-2?
5-2.
5-2. So where does LSU go from here? Trey, shout out to catching up with Coach every Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on the day, every day early in the week, where he breaks down LSU, and he was pretty heated, but he did talk about the future possibility of Brian Kelly, where he stands going forward, and he is more in the essence of he'll be here next year. Big Doug, shout out Big Doug. He'll be here next year. I think that's what we'll start the conversation with off first is like LSU is in a weird spot. I agree. I'm leaning towards the side of depending on how this season goes, which there's a wide variety of things that can happen. It could be positive too. It's not going to be all negative. But if this goes negative, I think there is a realistic world Brian Kelly gets fired. You called it absurd. And look, I think if there's a catastrophic meltdown where they lose every game but Western Kentucky, I don't think that's considered. I think you lose to Western Kentucky, that's considered catastrophic. There's a world they lose every SEC game on the schedule going forward. I think they're only going to be favored in 2 of the 5 left. Or is there 4? It's A&M, Bama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and then Western Kentucky is the 5th game. So there's 4 SEC games left. There is a legit world they go 0-4 or 1-3. Like, that's just real. That's not me, not being a fan of the team. That's a realistic finish to the season. What is your opinion on, even if they beat someone like Arkansas, for say, and lose the rest of their games, and then they beat Western Kentucky, obviously, that puts them at 7-5. You still think Brian Kelly has a job?
So what I said on the show is that, of course, I don't disagree with you. I agree with the premise that I brought, because I said, barring something catastrophic, it's improbable for you to assume that there would be an appetite to pay that buyout money. That is given what we have seen LSU do in the past. There has never been an appetite to spend that much money. The reason for that is because you're not even done finished paying Coach O until the end of the month. So you're still getting that off the spreadsheet, much less to then go out and spend another, not only him, but for the rest of the staff too. Now, what I will say is, if it does go that bad, I do think that it's very much on the table. If you split them 2-2, everyone's still going to be pissed off, and the fan base will still be unhappy, and they will be ready for the first shoe to drop. And that's when you have to make a difficult decision too, because then if you end up doing it next year, the first time you lose a game or whatever the case, that means that you're basically making this now a 2027 problem. And I don't think that there is as much an appetite. Put it this way, I think there's more appetite for you to fix this before this becomes a 2-year problem than a problem right now in the moment, because you would then have to find another contract to pay somebody different. So the issue here is that there has not been enough snooping around that we have heard in the people streets to say that there is any validity to people wanting to go and buy him out. And that may be true, but if you ask them that, if they're 7-5 in December, I think the answers could be a little bit different. Because here's the reality. Let's just say he splits them, right? Let's say you find a way to split them, okay? Whether it's A&M, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, whatever. You find a way to split them. Beat Western Kentucky, you go 8-4. You would then have to go and get more money, a lot, just like you did this past year, to go and put into the team to make it serviceable for next year, like anybody does. And this is a regular thing. You need to spend 10 plus, 15 plus, maybe not always 15 plus, but $10+ million a year on your roster to get it where you need to be, period. That's just how it is. So do you want to pay more money to a problem that you might ultimately have to then pay next year to buy them out? So let's just say it reduces by 10 mil next year. Okay. Let's just say you don't have to pay him 53 million next year. Let's say it goes to 43 million next year. So it comes down 10 million. But what happens when you put 12 million into the portal? Now you're already back up to 50 to get the roster to where you want, and then you end up having to buy him out next year. But who's to say he can't turn it around? If the offense would have taken the steps that the defense took this year, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the reality is that we are having it. So I just, given what we have seen LSU in the past, brother, they're just not footing that bill. And I'm not saying it's impossible or it's improbable. I just think that it is unlikely. And that's probably the most fair thing I could say. But everything is on the table in Louisiana once they get pissed enough. And what I do think is unfortunate is that I really think that, again, like I said last night, is you can't have the GM approach and then watch things crumble around you and then stand on your coaches to say you have to do better. They're not capable of doing certain things, so you have to do it. That is the point that we were all led to believe that he did, because that's how he was at Notre Dame. That's why there would be coordinators that when they didn't work out, they'd be run off, and it was like, well, because he didn't want to stop having say so. He wanted to control everything, dude. So did Nick, and he won 6 of them. So that's the point that I'm saying. But if you're going to give up that and you just want to just oversee everything and you get full reign of your coordinators and your position coaches, then I'm out on that, because you need to have the onions to drop and say, enough is enough. I'm going to take the reins. Sit down right next to me. Ta-ta, come sit. And we haven't seen his desire to do that yet.
Yeah. Will we see more MVP going forward? That's an interesting question now.
How bad do you want to win?
Well, I think it's an interesting question because, and I'll break down what I think could happen and include MVP in that. Oh my God, did Chet Holmgren score the first basket? Can we confirm that? He scored in the first 3 minutes. I just don't know if he had the first basket. Anyways, off topic. Too much money invested in Nuss, he won't get bitch. Let's just get into my thoughts on what's going to happen, right? I think personally, I think he gets, and it was not Chad. Shea made it was first basket, if you bet basket, but points for FanDuel, it was there. So if you have DraftKings, it works. Okay, so let's start with everything, and I'll include MVP in my discussion. I'll include everyone. So LSU's a 2.5-point dog at home against Texas A&M. Okay. Mm-hmm. If we're going by Vegas, I'm not putting my opinion into it. I'm just going by Vegas, right? LSU loses the game. It's a typical game. It'll be relatively close. There'll be mistakes, but they'll ultimately end up losing by possession, right? And they score, let's say, 18-24. Joe Sloan gets fired. I think he's gone. I think he is going to be the first sacrificial lamb gone if they lose this game. If they win
season,
yes, yeah, there's no way, because I think that there is a heightened. If Brian Kelly is not going, there is someone that's going to take a fall here, and it's going to be soon. Okay, so I personally think Joe Sloan does not make it unless LSU scores 40 and the defense just can't stop it, or they go into 7 overtime, the defense can't stop anything like a couple years ago. If it's the same stuff, he will be canned. Who they replace him with, who they upgrade to that position, I have no idea. But I know someone's going to take the fall. It's going to be quick, because this as something as we were talking at the beginning of the season, given the talent of our team, we were thinking down the line a couple of years before Kelly. We were having this conversation about Kelly, like legitimately. But now it's here. This is the best opportunity. This is the best team he has had on paper out of his tenure at LSU. And we're here now. We're 2 losses into the season. There's plenty of games left that could increase that number. However, I think Sloan gets fired. They have a bye week, and they go against Bama. Ultimately, there'll be a touchdown dog in that game, right, on the road in Tuscaloosa. Right? I mean, is there even a spread on that game right now? So if we're going on Vegas, they'll lose that game too, right? I think Nuss is shut off from there. I think Nuss shuts it down. He either makes a business decision and saves face as much as he can, or something along the lines of MVP will have the opportunity to play if they lose that game after that. The kicker with MVP is, do you want to mess up your eligibility? Because I imagine he could possibly redshirt.
He don't care.
Given LSU, he cares, because if he wants to play another year, he's not going to play. You already have several people entering the transfer portal right now.
He wants to play.
Eligibility. Okay, so if he wants to play, he will play. He will be the starter after Alabama. That's my prediction. I think Nuss shuts it down, saves face, focuses on the draft, because this is a lost cause at this point. And then you go into Arkansas. Go ahead. Go on.
So when Matt House was the worst coordinator in the entire NCAA and they didn't let him go, what makes you think that he'll let Joe Sloan go?
Fire under the ass.
Okay.
There wasn't a fire under the ass at that time. And can he play? He can play 3 more games without burning the red shirt? Damn. Okay, well then, hell yeah. And maybe you put Hurley in for the is Hurley even cleared after what happened? I imagine he is, huh?
Yeah.
Like, could Hurley play? Okay, so this is just my prediction. I mean, given everything. So MVP will play after Arkansas. They could possibly beat Arkansas. They could. I mean, they're going to probably be a favorite in that game, but it's going to be relatively close because, I mean, the wheels are coming off here. And then you play Oklahoma, right? It's just, I think MVP's the closer, and I ultimately do not know. I ultimately do not know what happens when MVP comes in. I'm going to be pissed if we see good results, because if you want my honest opinion, I want to see him now. I want to see, because like what if we don't make a change at coordinator, we're going to get the same results. We're going, because like we've been saying this game after game towards the beginning of the season, we're just waiting for this offense to explode. Nuss is hurt, but he's on the other side of it. We've heard this every game, and we're still here in week 8 or 9, whatever this is. I've lost belief that that's going to happen. So to answer Dilly's question, will we see MVP going forward? I hope we see him Saturday. That's just my opinion. Why not? At least if you're going to play Nuss, incorporate him on the goal line or in the red zone when Caden Durham doesn't get in the end zone and you have 3 plays from the 3 or the 4 inside the 5. Incorporate them there. I know you alluded to it on your show, running from shotgun consistently, a wildcat call to Jawan. Put MVB in the game there. At least run some packages for him there. We have to see MVB. Now, like I said, I don't know if that's a business decision. Is he holding out? I don't think so, because I personally think he can find success with this team. He's a baller. I don't even really care, and I will dismiss any kind of lingo that he just doesn't look good in practice. That dude can play in the SEC, and he'll give you at least an option. And I know you've alluded to this as well. Joe Sloan was prepared to be the coordinator for a running quarterback, right, with Bryce Underwood.
Correct.
Why don't we see a game of it with Joe Sloan? Why don't we see a game of it with MVB? It can't hurt Nuss, because Nuss has already tanked his stock. And no offense, I'm not a Nuss hater. Like I had my opinions of him last season. I get that he's hurt. He's been dealt a bad hand. He's had a bunch of a bunch of drops by the team. There's a lot. It's not just on him. But why aren't we seeing a sniff of MVB? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, MVB struggled with accuracy with no defenders, just running plays with offense only, but some players are better. Yeah, that's how I am, and it can't be worse. To me, from what we have, the only thing worse is he can cosplay as Jarrett Lee and throw some pick sixes. Because that's the only thing that's going to be worse than what's happening right now, which is an overpaid quarterback with an overpaid receiver core and I wouldn't even blame the O-line. I'm not even really sure how much he spent on the O-line, whatever. But we have to talk about this because it's NIL. It's an overpaid offense that's not producing points.
Finesse offense.
And to me, Sloan's going to fall early. It might not be directly after A&M. It could be after Alabama. If they win, you give a reignited feel into the locker room and into the season, because now you get a week off and you go into Tuscaloosa and things get interesting. You're going to be a dog against Bama, but you have life, right? If you lose this game, the wheels come off. And you could I'm telling you, man, Arkansas, for those of you that aren't paying attention, is number 1 in total offense in the SEC. That is no joke. That is no fluke.
It's low-key
and it's
scary
not like,
and weird.
And it is. They have not played D3 teams. They are playing SEC caliber teams. So to me, that game is just as losable as any other game on the schedule, because the big boosters put too much money on Nuss. They want to get their guy out there. That was a discussion we had a couple of weeks ago with the injury deal, right? Which is like, is there a thing like where Nuss feels pressured that he has to play through an injury to get NIL money? We haven't personally seen these contracts. I don't think anyone have they released an NIL contract writing? I know
not very many.
Yeah, so to me, that could be a factor here. But like at some point, I don't know how if it is a pay to play, you have to play to win. Like, that could make sense. That could be why Nuss has been playing through injury. That could be the case. But anyways, just had to get that off my chest. I think it's very realistic that he does get fired. I personally look. We all need NIL money.
We all need NIL money.
It is tough out there in these streets, Anyways. But yeah, I think it's definitely realistic. I know your argument about money is valid. I just personally believe when the seat gets hot enough and the fans this early are getting gruntled, they would do it. They would do it for the right person. And there's not a lot of right people out there right now. I think there's 3 names right now that you would pay that bag for. And I think you know who those 3 are. I'd like you to name the 3.
For who? For what?
Who we would fire Brian Kelly for this year to pursue.
3?
3 names, yeah. There would only be 3 that you would do it for.
Nick Saban.
Okay, I didn't really consider. I don't consider that a realistic option. I think he's too happy.
You think
Sure,
there's 3
sure.
realistic options that you would
Yes.
fire Brian Kelly for today to go and get
Correct.
right now?
Correct. Yes. I don't consider him realistic because I don't think he's coming out of retirement. Because that would be like
You consider Ohio State and Georgia coaches possibilities?
Not realistic, no.
Dan Lanning?
Orgeron, no shot. Dan Lanning's one.
You're gonna think Lane Kiffin, but I'm just gonna
Lane
have
Kiffin.
to burst your bubble. There's not enough people that agree with that. And I'm not saying that I disagree with you. I'm just telling you that if they wanted him, they could have had him for less than $100 million years ago.
But at the time, Brian Kelly on paper was probably a better option.
And there's a third one.
He's in the NFL right now. Has ties to LSU.
It ain't Joe Brady.
It's Joe Brady.
He doesn't want to coach in college. He hates recruiting.
Well,
so
those are the three realistic options, in my opinion, including ties to the past and with LSU that they would fire Brian Kelly for this year, in my opinion. And obviously, Saban or a coach like Smart or someone, no way they're leaving. No, I don't consider that realistic. Dan Lanning is not realistic. This is a weird year. Joe Brady hates college coaching. Look, I mean, that could be the case. I think Dan Lanning is realistic. You want to hear why? Because I don't want to hear, and same with Lane Kiffin. Here are my 2 arguments for them. They get everything they want, and it's Oregon, it's Ole Miss. Tell me how many national championships they've won in the last 2 years or 20 years.
Who's that?
Oregon and Ole Miss. Tell me. Well, don't tell me that they get everything they want, and it's a better opportunity, because it's not. It is not. LSU will be the best job available because LSU produces national champions. That's all. Now you can only make that argument for a few teams, right? Alabama, Ohio State. I wouldn't even consider Florida an option because I think Florida during the Tebow stages were good, but Phil Knight money. Look, everyone's got money, Finesse. Everyone has money, including LSU. I don't care if they tell you or they front that they're broke. Everyone has enough money. So yes. And correct, he does not get the culture here. I'm not saying fire him because he's not a cultural fit. I think that's definitely a part of it for sure. But you want to get some. I've always been a big fan of Lane Kiffin. He's an offensive mind. He's young. His girlfriend's dating a linebacker here. It's even better. Does Whit Weeks have any eligibility?
Whit Weeks? Yeah, he's a junior. And given his injury history, would likely I said it yesterday on the show. He has a decision to make.
Look, the daughter, we could have some collusion here in a good way.
Yeah, big collusion guy, huh?
Phil Knight does not win championships, okay? He can have all the money they want, but they cannot win in the Big Ten. He needs to leave. Look, we can talk about last year's debates with Nuss now since you've been and Clay all yelled at me, but, look, hands up. No, not true. I just think why do you think Lane Kiffin isn't a realistic option? I think, like, legitimately, you can make the argument that he was not the better option 4 years ago. But he's definitely a better option now. And he's going to be the best option out there with a disgruntled fan base. Like, why not?
It's the way he comes off to people.
National champions,
frankly.
National champions for this. He's doing well with Ole Miss, but if you're going to be stuck, look, Lane Kiffin can consistently go 8-4, get anything he wants, and be fine. If he wants that life, be my guest. But if you want to coach and win a national championship, you are not going to do it at Ole Miss. And I don't think you're going to do it at Oregon either, if you want my opinion. No.
I think
Disagree. If I'm alive in 5 years, let's make a bet on that. Win in the Big Ten. Whatever. Dude, look.
are we having like a full conversation in the comments right now? Because I'm kind of just letting y'all eat.
Dude, we are. Anyways, I just had to get all that off my chest, man. Also, did the Dunham dude commit to Florida? Is that what I saw?
No,
or is Alabama?
Elijah Haven's going to commit to Alabama any day now.
Yeah.
That's coming.
Just go to Louisiana, dude. Or go Louisiana. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, I wonder what the spreads are going to be at the end of the day, because we have at Bama, at Arkansas. Or is it at Arkansas, or is that a home game? It's at Oklahoma.
Arkansas, Oklahoma's on the road.
We will definitely be dogs on the road games. Depending on what happens with A&M and Bama, there is a possibility that's going to be a pick 'em. If you want my honest opinion. But I think there is a realistic world. I'm heated, dude. Let me share my screen. For those that are commenting, like I said, we are going to is this showing up? Can y'all see this? I need to maybe zoom in. So what we're going to do is, for anyone that comments, like we said at the beginning, y'all are going to be eligible to split the winnings of a possible parlay that we will put on this LSU A&M game, just because, why not? And we promised it a couple weeks ago and it didn't come through. We've got plenty of options in this game, and this kind of gives you an insight of what me and Trey go through. So if anyone in the comments has a suggestion, I'll show the over-unders and touchdowns in a second. But I'm going to start this off with Trey'Dez Green plus 210 touchdown. I mean, he is the number one guy on this team right now. And I think it's disrespectful to continue to put him at 2-1. So we're going to start the parlay off with that. I will put this on the over-unders.
Marcel Reed anytime feels like a homer.
Okay.
Marcel Reed anytime sounds like a yeser.
Okay, so we'll add that to so that's already at plus 625. I'll put the over-unders for the receivers if anyone wants to take a look. Is it are we too zoomed in maybe? There we go. While we wait for any comments, LSU to go 3. I saw a note where
I'm gonna be honest, that kind of just pissed me off a little bit.
LSU on the opening drives is like, I forgot what the stat was, but it was
the little chart, and they were like in the bottom half of the yeah.
I think they've only converted like once or twice.
Dude, can I paint a picture for everyone? So we started last show by saying that LSU was literally in the bottom 5 worst starting drives in the country, and they took the first drive to the 11-yard line, and I'm literally on my 4-wheeler with 1 bar of service, covered in camo and sweating, watching this on the phone to watch us end it with 3 points. And it was as if you just slapped me in the mouth. That's literally how it felt. Also that we have lost the last 11 coin tosses. Do you know how hard that is to do?
It's pretty impressive.
That's really hard to do.
Oh man.
It's not funny.
That's crazy, man. Can you tell me who their tight end is based on this list? Because opposing tight ends must be averaging 80 or 90 yards against us. So I gotta include the opponent tight end. Can you go to their roster and tell me who has the most? It's Ashton Bell. I don't think it's that guy. I think he's a running back. No, it's Ashton Bethel Roman or Terry Bussey, if I had to guess based off of these names.
What does Nate Borkircher sound like?
Not an option. Is that their starting tight end? There's a Bethel Roman. Let me go. Let me pull up. Look,
but
we
a group of
understand.
3: Theo Mellon Orstrom, Nate Bo Richter, and Amari Nyblick.
What?
I've
You sure?
never, Russo, I really don't.
Do they
I don't
not run a
have,
tight end? Hold on. We're gonna
dude,
find
they've
this
got
out.
a coalition.
You're not kidding. It's Borisher, Melanor. They don't have a freaking tight end that's eligible in here.
Don't worry, they'll find one. They'll find one Saturday.
Craver has 36 receptions for 674, but that's a lot.
Brother.
Bussey is 16 and a half, 10 games, 135 yards. That's 13 and a half a catch. So he would need 2 catches on that. And I just like the name. Bethel Roman's 9 for 169, and you can get this. He's 18 yards a catch, but only has 9 catches. I'm feeling Mr. Bussey, dude. We're gonna add Mr. Bussey to the list. That already brings us to 1250. Trade has 6 receptions. Look, if I could bet receptions, I would. I mean, surely we take over 39 and a half, right? That doesn't really move the line that much because we already have his touchdown. We already have his touchdown number. Oh my god! And we've broke the scale. 1250. Yeah, so like it doesn't add much since we already have his touchdown. I was gonna say Xavion, but there we go. Like Xavion, he got a fluke play last game. That's a low number. Obviously, if I knew how healthy Aaron Anderson was, I would say 40, but he absolutely cooked.
And for those of you that are able to watch on YouTube, whether it's live or on delay, this is literally what this looks like. Like this is literally what it looks like for us to do this. Like we go back and forth, we talk about these things. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Like this is quite actually what it looks like.
Yeah, we'll go Xavion. I just don't trust Aaron Anderson. I don't know the health of Aaron Anderson. He wasn't on the field a lot last game. Barry Brown's not a bad number, but for 6 more yards, I'll take Xavion. Rushing, I mean, Jesus, we can't take 31 yards, right? I mean, we just physically can't take that.
No, what's his?
I don't even know.
What's Marcel Reed's?
It's in the 30s.
Yeah.
Sacks count. Do you think he gets 35, or do you want to bust that down to 25?
He'll get 25.
All right, 25. I feel like Ruben Owens, I don't like that because he surely splits with Le'Veon Moss, right?
He's not playing.
Oh, he's not.
Le'Veon Moss is not playing.
Okay. That's plus 3,100 for a $20 bet. I mean, I'm feeling everyone gets happy at 671. We'll split that among everyone that comments, which look, we just got one. My bets are ass. I just got real. No. Tyler, we are great friends, Tyler. That's Harlem Berry. I wish he was an option. Otherwise, I think that's what we're going to land on. Do you have any other suggestions? We can cross the 1,000 mark here if we get one more.
I mean, not really. I mean, I would to be honest, I'd want to add something from another game.
I mean, do you have a game in mind?
How about the one in Nashville?
Little Pavia action? They get back-to-back home games? That's not fair, dude. Dude, what's his touchdown? Minus 143.
I want to see a little a little Ahmad Hardy anytime would probably be stupid and bad.
Minus 251.
I mean,
their run defense isn't bad though, dude. I don't know. Like, part of me really wants to like take Texas A&M to win, but I'm never gonna pull against LSU. Is the over too high? I mean, it was 50. We scored. It was in the mid 50s last game. Maybe do we just take both? Do we take both Bussy and maybe 10 on this Bethel Roman guy and just call it a day? That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
We're gonna put our big bucks on that. That gets us right at 1,000 if you include the bet. So anyone that has comments on this will get a share of this. We will post the slip on TikTok, but for those that want to see and take a mental screenshot, we've got Tradez anytime touchdown. We have Marcel Reed anytime touchdown, as well as 25 rush yards. We have Mr. Bussy and Mr. Bethel Roman to have 17 and 10 respectively, and then we have Xavion for 36. Look, not out of the realm of possibility here, and look, that's a fun number we can share with chat. You know, that's the first time I've ever said chat. You know, Barry was an option for touchdowns, but he was not an option.
Can we do a thing?
Go on.
If LSU goes on the road and beats Bama, we grow mustaches.
Dude, I tried, man. I hated it.
Shout out to my perfect, wonderful queen who would absolutely end my life in my sleep if I were to grow a mustache.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good fit.
She's also in the medical field and knows how to do it, probably without getting caught. She like knows the correct way to like make it not be painful. She would absolutely kill me in my sleep.
But anyways,
just kidding. She would never do that. FBI.
Shout out to her. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank y'all for supporting us.
As we work through our player prop
dude, we should make this a tradition. Maybe
big
game
big pod, big pod
everything,
prop guy.
Look, we've got to get some interest in this LSU team, and I'm gonna fight my way to try and make the rest of this season enjoyable for us. So, look, don't pull for A&M, but let's pull for a little bit of success for Marcel Reed and Mr. Bussy. But anyways, guys, thank you all for stopping by. We'll see y'all on Catching Up with Coach on Tuesday, or depending on what happens, we'll see, and then we'll be back here next Thursday to break down the game, and we'll see if there's any more of a hotter seat for Mr. Kelly up in Baton Rouge. So y'all take care, and y'all have a great night.